Good morning. This lesson is for my Integrated 1 class. This is going to be the last lesson that we're going to deal with on congruent triangles. Before I get started, I want to say I hope everyone's doing okay out there. We really only have a few weeks left. I want to encourage you guys to finish strong. A lot of you have done really well, done everything I've asked. I'm really proud of you. Some others of us have kind of faded off. Let's finish strong. Let's do everything we need to do here to pass. I'm looking for my tool that I need for this lesson. Okay, there it is. All right. So this lesson is there's no homework assignment with this lesson, so I'm sure a lot of you are just gonna turn this off right now. But I want to explain to you why we want to have congruent triangles. Congruent triangles end up being a piece in a bigger puzzle. It's a part of an argument. And I thought that it would be good for you guys to see congruent triangles used in an argument, just so you at least get to see why this is taught. Remember, geometry is a mathematics that allows us to practice making logical arguments and coming to conclusions or figuring out something that can't happen. So it's a different animal. It's an important skill to have in life, is to be able to conclude a result from evidence that you have before us. And so I want to do that today. Again, I'll keep this short because there's no assignment, and I just want to show you again that there is a reason that we do make congruent triangles. We're practicing arguments. So our goal today in this lesson is to use congruent triangles to make an argument. And what we're going to do is we're going to validate copying an angle construction. So I don't know if you guys remember, but we used to copy angles in the classroom. We started to. And I want to show you how congruent triangles actually ties into this construction we did. We can actually validate that what we do actually does in fact take this angle and put it down here. And the reason why we can conclude that is that identical shapes have identical parts in the same location. So if two things are the same, like two objects are the same, then what makes those objects themselves must also be the same, and those parts that are the same must be in the same position. So this is going to be the key idea. All right. Now remember, circles. I use circles to show equal length, right? All the radii of a circle are the same. And I can also copy length using a compass. So let me just go ahead and do the construction really quick, and then I'll relate it to the congruent triangles, and hopefully this makes some sense. So again, my goal is to use congruent triangles to make an argument. This is where the lessons were going to go. All right, so here we go. So remember, when I copy an angle, the very first thing I do is I put my needle here and I make an arc, right? So I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to make an arc. I'm going to come down here, I'm going to copy it. Okay? Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this length. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to copy that. And then I connect some dots, right? So, the construction we did, we would connect these, and that would be good enough to say I've copied this angle down here, right? But I'm going to break this picture down a little bit, because as it stands right now, I don't have identical triangles. But before I erase too much, I'd like to point out a couple things. First off, I know that this length must be the same as this length, because these are radii of the same circle, right? So, and in fact, this length is the same as this length, which is also the same as this length. So I know that these are the same lengths because they're made from the same size circle. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase this arc. And I'm going to connect this. I'm going to erase this off. Okay, and I'm going to do the same right here. I'll erase this off, I'll erase this off, and I'll erase this. I should use my eraser, right? Now, remember, this length was how much the angle opened at this distance, right? And I took it and I copied it down here. So we could actually, in fact, say that this is the same length as this. Now this, we've actually created congruent triangles by side, 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 right? And so if I just real quickly do this, I can make my congruent statement, right? So I could say that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle JKL. Right. Now this is a slightly different version of side, side, side that we've seen. Remember the language that I talked about was if 3 sides of one triangle are congruent to 3 sides of the other. And we've seen these with 3 different sides, but I'm allowed to have 2 sides be the same. This still satisfies side, side, side. And remember, we would write our congruent statements, and then we would be able from here to list our congruent parts. It's a really important part of this. But notice A is an angle, and J is an angle, and they're both in the same position, right? They're both, this angle A is made up by the 2 identical sides. So is this angle J. It's made up by the 2 identical sides. So these shapes we know are identical. And A and J are identical parts because the shapes are identical and they're in the same position. So we can reason that angle A must be the same as angle J. And what this does, this conclusion, is this validates that we copied an angle. So again, here I showed you that when we're copying an angle, we actually are in fact making congruent triangles. And when we make the congruent triangles, we can then, justify that this angle must be the same as this angle because these are parts in the same position of identical shapes. So again, I just wanted you guys to see this today. I don't know how I would make an assignment that would show me that this is understood with this distance learning, but it is a story of this class that we would see, and we did see. So please watch this video. I'll figure out a way to just have you guys get credit for it or something. But anyways, again, I hope everyone is doing okay out there. I'll post the lesson for the homework today. Homework and idea like my thinking. Again, I hope everyone is doing okay out there. Have a good day, everybody.